All right. Well, as I said, welcome everybody to our third and final information session for Oxfam Trailwalker Taranaki 2022. My name is Lizzie. I'm the fundraising events manager here at Oxfam Aotearoa, and I'll be taking you through the evening. This information session is all about event weekend, from registration, start and finish line expectations, support crew, checkpoints, and more. It's going to be another jam-packed hour, so let's get into it. Firstly, a bit of housekeeping. I do have to note briefly that this session is going to be recorded and will be posted to Facebook and our website later for those who couldn't make it tonight. As we progress through the session, you may need or want to focus your attention to the speaker. To do this, head to the top right of the screen and turn speaker view on. Questions and answers will be at the end, so please stay muted until we reach that section. In the meantime, feel free to pop your questions into the chat box as we go, and we'll get to them at the end. And here is a brief rundown of the evening. Firstly, I'll take you through a presentation covering everything you need to know about Event Weekend. We'll then hear from our guest speakers. And tonight we have our trail developer, Matt, who will share a little bit about the course, so you'll be able to get some sneak peeks before the trail is officially released. Next, we'll hear from Patrick White, who has completed multiple trail walkers, and he will touch on his Event Weekend experiences. And lastly, we have Marco from our sponsor, Outwear. He's going to run us through the many different ways to wear the buff that every walker receives in their walker pack, which they collect at registration. If you have a buff handy or near you from previous years, then I suggest you grab it ready to test with Marco later in the session. Firstly, I want to get you all excited for not only this information session, but for the event itself. We're going to be chatting about the destination and the wonderful things you can do in Taranaki, weekend timeline overview, key dates and times that you need to know, registration information and start line expectations, and then moving on to checkpoints and what you'll need to know going into them, finish line expectations like the award ceremony, and the kinds of trail and terrain that you'll be experiencing at Oxfam Trailwalker. We'll go on to talk about your support crew and why they are important, the compulsory gear that you need for the event, touch on sustainability, and finally talk a little bit about COVID-19. As you can see, plenty to fly through. So we're really excited to host Oxfam Trailwalker in the beautiful Taranaki region for the second time. And Taranaki has so much to offer, and we agree. From museums, nature walks, surfing, culture, and cuisine, it fits into anyone's ideal version of a weekend away. It's unique, it's legendary, and it's impressive. We know you'll love it. And on the weekend, if you're sticking around for a few extra days before or after the event, we suggest you check out the eyesight in the New Plymouth City Centre for advice and take the opportunity to explore all that the Taranaki region has to offer. In terms of the weekend itself, registration will be held on the Friday at Novotel New Plymouth. The opening and closing times are to be confirmed at the moment as we finalise planning, but last year we opened registration from noon to 8 p.m. You'll receive emails leading up to the event with this information as we confirm it, so make sure you keep an eye on your spam and junk folders too. Oxfam Trailwalker kicks off on Saturday the 26th of March, and we'll be implementing start waves based on your distance and predicted pace when you first signed up. These will begin from 6 a.m. Details on this will be confirmed later, but to give you an idea, for the 2021 event, we had start waves setting off at 6, 6:20 and 6:40 for the 100-kilometre teams, and 7 and 7:20 for the 50-kilometre teams. The finish line will open at noon on the Saturday to welcome the first teams over the finish line. And then on Sunday, we'll be hosting the award ceremony at the finish line at noon. This will be a wonderful opportunity to celebrate the incredible achievements that people have made. But for those still crossing the finish line, we hope that everyone who attends the award ceremony will be there to cheer you on as you cross that finish. You deserve the loudest cheers possible from your fellow walkers. So going back to the Friday in more detail, registration on Friday the 25th of March is where you collect your walker packs, and we can high-five you for your upcoming challenge. And as I said, this will be hosted by Novotel in New Plymouth. Everyone is welcome to attend registration, but only one team member is required to attend on behalf of the team. So please ensure that your travel plans fit around this. Even though times for this year are yet to be confirmed, last year we had registration open from 12 till 8 p.m. and this should give you an idea on when to travel into Taranaki and give you enough time to go to registration. In the walker packs that you will receive, you'll get your walker directions, which you must carry with you on the trail, your team bibs, your support crew driving directions, your support crew vehicle passes, and any fundraising rewards that you and your team have achieved. If you have any team changes or have any team queries to make before the Saturday morning, this is the place to do it. You'll be directed to a help desk to sort you out. And if you haven't sorted accommodation yet, this is the perfect time to book at Novotel, as you can just walk down the corridor to collect your walker pack. And they also have an on-site sauna for your post-trail walker muscles. Novotel are offering an exclusive 20% discount for trail walkers if you book online before the 31st of December. Just use the promo code Oxfam when booking at novotelnewplymouth.com. So fast forward through your carb-loading dinner and your great night's sleep. What should you expect on Saturday morning? Well, expect to get to the start line early. This year is likely going to be one of our biggest Oxfam Trailwalkers. Avoid any traffic issues and delays by arriving early. As a city-based trailwalker, we'll work with the local area to ensure the best possible parking or organise a drop-off point for your support crew to drop you off at, park up, and circle back to the start line to wave you off. This will give you plenty of time to get checked in at the start line and visit the portaloos. Prepare your gear the night before. There's nothing worse than stumbling around in your accommodation at 4 a.m, trying to find your other sock. Make sure everything is ready to go and packed for the weekend. This could even mean pinning your bib onto the front of your shirt so you don't have to worry about it on Saturday morning. Your support crew should also know the plan for checkpoints and what you need from them. Everyone will be pumped on adrenaline. The atmosphere will be buzzing. Soak it in. You'll only be at the start for a short while before you're off. Take plenty of photos and remember the amazing feeling of beginning your walking journey. But also you might be nervous or just excited to start, and that's okay too. Expect that your bodies will react differently. Embrace it. And once you've had your bib scanned by the wonderful start line volunteers, you can make your way to the start line chute for your start wave. Keep an eye on the time, but Oxfam's Executive Director, Rachel, will be on the mic to announce the waves, count you down, and send you off. Checkpoints are the perfect chance to catch up with your support crew, sit down to stretch, and get off your feet for a bit, and eat some well-deserved food. These checkpoints are roughly between 15 and 20 kilometres apart from each other. And yes, toilets will be available at each checkpoint, along with hot and cold water, coffee, tea, hot chocolate, and R-Line, which is a rehydration drink designed specifically to aid the performance of endurance athletes, such as you long-distance walkers, as well as provide fast hydration. And one thing to remember is that Oxfam Trailwalker has been a disposable cup-free event for many years, so make sure you and your support crew have your own reusable cups. We're planning for all of our Oxfam Trailwalker 2022 checkpoints to have an inside venue to protect you from the elements, although this doesn't include the start and finish line. We'll have chairs and tables at each venue, with portaloos and a water refill station located outside. So when you arrive to your checkpoints, make sure you check in and check out with the volunteers as you enter and exit. Every member in the team must do this. If you don't, it will register in our system that you haven't reached the checkpoint, and we'll be calling you in the middle of the night, worried you've stopped somewhere. And when you're there, it's time to meet the support crew. It's lovely seeing your close supporters throughout the trail. Let them know what you need prior to event weekend, so when they turn up to greet you, they are prepared with exactly what you need. Each checkpoint site will be different, but for many, there will be the space for your support crew to set up gazebos if they wish. We'll give you the lowdown on each checkpoint once we've confirmed and launched the trail. And once there, it's time to recover and refuel. Checkpoints are the perfect time to refuel, as well as having areas to sit and recover. Support crew can scout out the checkpoints, set up some chairs, and have a hot cuppa waiting for you when you arrive. We suggest you don't hang around long, however, as your muscles will seize. 10 to 15 minutes is perfect. The finish line will be an amazing atmosphere, and there will be nothing like it. There'll be so many different emotions and feelings going round, much like the start line, so embrace it. Firstly, you're going to be sore. Ensure you stretch when you're done and make sure you drink plenty of fluids to help you recover. Take plenty of photos, especially with your hard-earned medals. Post them online and tag us at Oxfam Trailwalker NZ. and include the hashtag OTWNZ22. There will be a glass of bubbles waiting for you at the end, thanks to Booster Wine Group, your medal, and a sausage sizzle. It'll be time to celebrate. And lastly, the award ceremony will be held on the Sunday at noon. If you finish sooner, come back to the finish line to be part of the experience and cheer on the teams finishing their walks. The trail is often one we get the most questions about leading up to event weekend, and understandably so. The trail for our 2022 event is being finalised and will be similar to last year with some exciting changes. The terrain will be extremely varied, including dockland, private farmland, forestry and bush, beach and rocky shore, and hard pack trails. The list goes on. We'll be releasing the trail at the end of October, along with elevation profiles and information about the legs between each checkpoint. Matt, our trail developer, will speak more on this later in the session. So we spoke about support crew meeting you at checkpoints, and your support crew are your lifelines. They are super important to get you across the finish line. Their main job is to meet you at checkpoints. They are there to support you and give you things you need, such as food, extra hydration, walking poles, or even spare shoes and socks. You must have your support crew signed up under your team, just like your teammates. The minimum is 2, both over 18 years. On our website at oxfamtrailwalker.org.nz/support crew, there is a lot of support crew information, including checklists and advice, and how to navigate checkpoints. They will be given detailed driving and parking directions closer to the time too. And lastly, support crew can be included in your weekend team trainings. Start them early in your training plan and ensure they know what you need from them during the walk. Do they need to learn how to give foot massages? Or have you learned you crave pizza while out on the trail? No matter how strange it is, their job is to ensure you get through the trail. And don't forget them to give them love throughout their journey too. In terms of gear, this is also a very common question. We covered some very detailed information in our first information session, and you can watch the recording on our website. As well as hearing from our official gear provider, Bivouac Outdoor, in that session, all team members receive a prep guide in their welcome pack, which include Bivouac Outdoor gear tips. We had a delay in sending out our most recent batch of welcome packs due to the lockdown. However, we are back up and running, and our last batch got sent out a few weeks ago. If you were registered recently, you can expect to be included in the next batch. In the meantime, you can view the prep guide on our website at oxfamtrailwalker.org.nz/preparation, as well as a full gear checklist courtesy of Bivouac Outdoor. In the meantime, here are a few key points. Carry a comfortable day pack, as support crew will transport the bulk of your food and gear. All teams, regardless of distance, should prepare to walk in the dark. A head torch is highly recommended. Trial different shoes and socks during training as well. You want to go into the event weekend with no surprises. And the compulsory items are your walker bib, which you need to wear on the front of your shirt. Some walker directions, and all teams need to have these with them on the trail. A first aid kit and survival blankets. 2 mobile phones, each on different networks would be preferable. Reflective clothing, a whistle, and of course, water. An Oxfam Trailwalker aims to walk the talk for sustainability by demonstrating Oxfam Aotearoa's commitment to environmental sustainability. We aim to minimize the negative environmental effects of our event in every way possible. An important focus for Oxfam Trailwalker 2022 is a major reduction of single-use plastic bags and packaging, and continuing to be a disposable cup-free event. Last year, an amazing 76.8% of all waste from Oxfam Trailwalker 2021 was diverted from landfill. Let's beat that for 2022. During the event, we'd love it if you could dispose of all your rubbish and separate recycling and landfill rubbish. Pack your food in reusable containers. This would be a good thing to let your support crew know. Carpool where possible. And we encourage support crew to think outside the box when it comes to decorations. So maybe create a homemade sign to cheer on your team with things lying around your home. Remember to reuse and recycle. And I'm sure that many of you may have questions about the impacts that COVID-19 will have on Oxfam Trailwalker. And at Oxfam, the safety and welfare of people is paramount in all we do. We're doing all we can to keep all of our people, participants, support crews, suppliers, stakeholders, and communities safe. And it's by working together that we will overcome this challenge as a community, whether that's here in Aotearoa or overseas, in the places where your Oxfam Trailwalker donations will be making a difference. Delivering Oxfam Trailwalker in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic comes with challenges, but we have considered and prepared for different scenarios and remain committed to bringing you a safe and successful event. In all stages of our planning, we have considered and prepared for future possibilities, and we recognise the part we have to play in ensuring mass gatherings are delivered as safely as possible to keep New Zealanders safe. As government guidelines and advice continue to adapt to face the implications of the Delta variant and so on, we will continue to adapt to bring you the safest Oxfam Trailwalker possible. A few particular aspects to mention are, firstly, we're continuing to change aspects of the event to adapt to best practices. Examples include that our health and safety briefing, which you all need to watch a few weeks before the event, just FYI, is recorded and hosted online, so you can enjoy it from the comfort of your own home. Start line waves reduce the number of people gathered in one place at one time, and smaller starting waves means less bottlenecks and less pressure on portaloo queues, which is convenient. And we also have a robust contact tracing system built into Oxfam Trailwalker, simply because you, your team, and support crew register for the event, and because each team checks in at checkpoints. When we were planning Oxfam Trailwalker 2021, we'd put in place actions and event changes that would have allowed us to deliver the event if the whole country was at alert level 2. As we plan for Oxfam Trailwalker 2022, we're working through the possibility of Oxfam Trailwalker going ahead if the whole country is at an alert level 2, and we'll share more as planning continues. And following the recent government announcements around vaccine certificates, we, like you, will be watching and waiting for more information over the coming weeks. I can assure you that we're working in the background on various scenarios, and we'll have an update for you once the government finalises their plans. If you have any particular questions on COVID-19 in relation to Oxfam Trailwalker, or any concerns, please do give us a call on 0800 600 700. The events team are happy to help and answer any questions we can as we progress with our planning. Now, COVID-19 is a great pivot to talk about our new Strava group. So we're all used to connecting with our teammates online and training remotely. And Strava is an app where you can track and share your exercise, which is perfect for our community. This will help us share training walks, embark on challenges, and encourage others in our journey to next March. It's also a great place to see what everyone else is up to give kudos for people's training, and get some ideas for potential training routes that others are doing. Anyone who follows Oxfam Trailwalker New Zealand on Strava and joins the Oxfam Trailwalker New Zealand Club before November 15th will go into a draw to win one of 4 Fitletic belts, thanks to Outwear. This water-resistant running belt features a larger pouch made from a coated lycra waterproof material, so you can bring your big phone and essentials anywhere. And the sleek pouch features an internal pocket for your ID and credit card, and has reflective features for your safety. Perfect gear for training walks. And to enter, you must be registered as a team member or support crew. And that's it from me. So I'd love to hand it over to Matt, who will share a little bit more about the trail to get you excited.
Kia ora, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thumbs up from Lizzie, great. Awesome, hey, kia ora tātou, welcome to Taranaki. My name's Matt Lash, I'm one of the persons in charge of developing the trail. So I'm actually out at a beautiful place called Lake Mangamahoe. So it's not actually a screensaver behind me, but it's a pristine lake with well, it should be a view of the mountain. The cloud has just popped through in the last 10 minutes. So sorry about the view, you're going to slightly miss. But anyway, the key thing about the trail is diversity, like Lizzie mentioned. There is an incredible array of different types of trail, track, terrain. You're going to see hopefully the mountain will be out. It's always good when the moanga pokes out. And last year was a stunning day, cold. Sorry, this year was a stunning cold day, but the mountain was out for the entire day. So hopefully you'll see that. You're going to see the coastline, some beautiful beaches. The start and finish line is going to be at next to Pukekura Park at the TSB Stadium. So the neat thing there, it's an easy start and finish at the same point. And you're right next to our beautiful Bowl of Brooklands and Pukekura Park. So there's going to be a whole lot of little trails you're going to explore. Some of those iconic photos you saw in the slideshow they'll actually feature in the trail. So I won't give too much away, but plenty of walkways through the town. In fact, a lot of locals don't even know how many trails there are. So you'll be exploring up and down little river valleys and trails. There'll be a couple of different beaches you'll go by and near. Definitely not up on the mountain, but it's going to be a great backdrop for the day. Some beautiful bridges, forest walks, and some pristine farms too. Some amazing dairy farms you'll walk through. Just a few cut-offs around 4 o'clock for milking. If you get caught on one farm, you might have to be doing some hosing out or maybe put the caps on or off. So just make sure your timings are right through the farms. We'll sort you there though. But like I said earlier, the whole thing will be just an amazing little connection of all these little treats that we have in Taranaki. So certainly excited to see you all there at the start line in a few months' time. And yeah, can't wait to show off Taranaki. If you haven't been before, it's amazing. If you came last year, so if you came this year, and you thought, oh, I've done the trail and, it was great. No, I don't want to maybe do it again. I'm not that fast. You're going to find that it's going to go quite a different direction. Some very similar terrain. So if you did the 100K last year, it's going to be in reverse to a lot of it that you've experienced. There are always some new bits as well. So just keep things, a little bit of variety, the spice of life. So I'm looking forward to seeing you all here next March. Cheers. Ka kite from Taranaki.
Wonderful. Thank you, Matt. We're really excited to join you. And I have such envy looking at your background right there from a level 3, stage 1 Auckland. But I'm looking forward for all of us to join you in March. So thank you very much. And
Thank you.
I'll now pass over to Pat, who's a past participant with Oxfam Trailwalker for a number of times. And Pat will be talking about kind of his event experience and any tips and insight you can offer, Pat.
Yeah, thanks, Lizzie. Yeah, really great to be here tonight to just share some insights with you. Yeah, exciting. So just a little bit about my story. I've done Oxfam 3 times, the full 100 kilometres each time, a couple of times around Whakatane, and then this year around Taranaki. And they've been fabulous. We've had a fabulous team and also support crew each time, and it just gets more exciting. I really enjoy doing it. It's become part of my life in a way. So the particular thing for my story was I entered in the Trailwalker just 2 weeks after I finished radiation treatment. So I was diagnosed with a lymphoma in July of last year. But being the person I am, I kind of like to stay fit and do endurance stuff. I just kept running all through my treatment. So 2 lots of types of chemotherapy and 20 sessions of radiation. So 2 weeks afterwards, I was thinking, oh, I haven't done much build up. Can I do some kilometers? So I didn't do any tapering and stuff. Anyway, we're a little bit different our team operates a little bit different to others. And I'm really grateful, before I actually go further, our beloved Capitan Troy is on the call tonight, and my beautiful daughter Atalia as well. So thanks for coming, guys. It's really, really cool for you joining in. So we're excited about that. Now, yeah, so we've always felt like doing a fast trail walk is a good idea, and so we've kind of taken the approach of doing a sort of a walk-run type approach. We sort of run the flats and run down the hills and walk when we're tired and walk up the hills. But that's not everyone's cup of tea. So I'm not suggesting that you do that. But we felt like, if you can get through the course, the sooner the better. It's a really good idea. So just 3 short things really. If you want to cross 100 kilometers in good shape, you've got to do your preparation, as everyone's already said. And I think probably the key things would be around your foot care. And one of the things I've learned over the years is to take good care of my feet. And so I will take a couple of pairs of socks, generally new socks, and I don't wear socks that aren't brand new. And as I think Lizzie said, no surprises. So don't wear new shoes or anything like that. So make sure you're trialing out your gear well and truly before you get there. But yeah, change of socks. I also utilize, I use the gurney goo just to keep my feet from getting too wet. So a barrier of some sort for your feet, and my toenails real short. And the other thing too is not letting them get too calloused, because often blisters will form on the outer edges of calluses. So keeping feet soft. So that's a little tip, a little secret. And of course, eating and drinking on the trail, being able to learn how to do endurance work and still being able to maintain hydration while you're going. And even if you feel like crap. And I can tell you, I felt a lot of crap during this year's one particularly. I think where Matt was standing, it looked like about the 60k mark on this year's one, and that's where I hit the wall. It's pretty steep around the Topek area, and I took a selfie there. I didn't tell my teammates, but I thought, man, I'm going to get to the next thing, and I think I'm done. Anyway, I found another second, third, fourth, or fifth wind and kept going. So, and you can push through. And when you've got a great support crew and you've got your team encouraging you, that can make all the difference. Yeah, so make sure you do good preparation, no surprises. Make sure you've had good meetings with your support crew and you know what your expectations are, what you want to eat. We all have our own little box of our stuff that we've chosen, and make that really clear. This is what we want, and really grateful. Map reading skills are a bonus. We got ourselves lost several times, but we had, and I'm glad you guys are using Strava this year, because our support crew and Maria had Strava, and they kind of like, all of a sudden her partner Bevan had turned up and think, what the heck are you guys doing? We kind of got off track, and the worst thing to do is if you have to double back. That's such a psychological downer. But we actually did that a couple of times. So, we kind of did a few extra steps that we didn't want to do. Yeah. So training, my personal training regime, I do lots of walk runs. I mainly run, and I'm going to be building up on that. And I find that that's really good, good for me. And getting that hill work in is really important. So that's really important. Yep. So, one of those things is to get through the hard bits. Like I was saying, the 60k mark was really tough. But it's like, yeah, keep drinking, even if you don't feel like it. Bit of pain relief is good. So we were keeping a bit of paracetamol, a bit of ibuprofen or whatever going, and that really did help, particularly as you're building up the kilometers. And some of our older bodies, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And another thing we didn't use this year, but we have used in the times past, is we had a little boom box hooked up with a spare phone. So because the battery can run down, and we played a bit of some of our favorite songs, and that was really helpful in other years. We didn't actually need it so much in this one, but we had it there as an option. So sometimes that psychological distraction can be a real helpful thing. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's, what else could I say? I think, yeah, thinking about what you're having a bit of shade, if you need a little place to set up where your support crew can set up a little gazebo or something, that can be helpful. We don't know what the weather's going to be like, so being able to sit out of the sun or out of the rain if it's raining is really important. So thinking about that, thinking about what sort of clothes you want, not carrying a whole lot of stuff. Training with or without poles. Our team, we don't use poles. They're a freaking nuisance, I reckon. They get in the way if you're gonna run, but if you're walking, then the poles may be really useful. So each to his own. It doesn't. There's not one way to do this deal. Yeah, I think I'm under my 10 minutes, so I think I'll hand it back to you, Lizzie. So blessed with the short-winded, they'll be invited back. Thanks very much. If anyone's got a question, put it on the chat or something. I'll do my best to answer. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Pat. Really appreciate it. And before I let you go on mute, I do have one question for you. What would be your one song that gets you vibrant again? I'm going to put you on the spot. I have to ask, what's going to be playing on the boombox?
Well, I do remember we did that song Kama Chameleon in Whakatane, and that got us going. I think it was Troy's favorite, and it was quite interesting actually. We're going along the riverbanks of the Whakatane River, and this family was sitting out there, cheering us on, and they played that song at the time, and it just kind of set us off. So that's a memorable one, but there's a whole bunch of others. we're kind of old school, so it's a bit of rock and roll and a bit of pop, and yeah. So, but that was one that was memorable.
Awesome. Thank you.
Cool.
So everyone start thinking about what song's going to be on your playlist. And now I'll hand over to Marco from Outwear. They are a long-term supporter of Oxfam Trailwalker and has lots of useful gear and advice for you. And you'll see a lot of recordings of Marco dotted through the supporter journey that we offer you guys. And one of them is he's here to show us all of the different uses that can be used for a buff.
Thanks, Lizzie. Hi, everyone. So for those that needed to grab the buffs, you can grab one now while you're waiting, while I'm talking. So this is the product called Buff. It's made out of multifunctional headwear. It comes from Spain and it has no seam. So when you wear it for long periods of time, you don't have any pressure points on the product. It's made out of recycled plastic bottles. So really helping the environment. What makes this quite unique is if it's really hot, this will keep you cool. And if it's really cold, this will keep you warm. So it's got both thermal and cooling properties. I'll give you a quick demonstration. So when you come through to registration, if you fundraised enough money, so really encouraging you to increase your fundraising. So as you increase your fundraising, you'll each in the team will get one of these up to $2,000. So keep pushing your fundraising. And this is the buff. So the first way of wearing it is just over the neck. So if those, you probably have seen a lot of these out there, especially with the conditions that we have with COVID at the moment. You can lift this up, you can breathe through this and the wind and air doesn't get in. And if it gets really cold, I can make it into a full face balaclava. So I grab this piece at the bottom here and I lift this up and I've got the ninja style, but if it's really wet and rain and windy, I'm protected in the front and the back and the side. So it'll keep me nice and warm. On a hot day, as the sun comes up, I can wear it as a headband or sweatband. Another way, when it's really cold, you turn it inside out. I'll do this slowly and you give it a twist and you drop it back down into itself. And you've got a skull cap or beanie. So on those cold early morning walks, you can put your head torch over that and you've got a skull cap or beanie. So even if this gets wet, it'll still keep you warm. My favorite way of wearing it is lying it on your head. And you grab the inside and you flick that over. And then you've got a legionnaire. So you've got this piece covering your neck from the sun, your ears covering from the sun. And then you can still wear a nice cap or a boonie or any kind of hat over that. So that'll keep you nice and cool. A lot of people are saying, and what we do a lot when we're out on trails is you can, every river crossing or coming into water, you can dip this into water or you can actually put ice inside. And that can go around the neck or you can wear it around the neck while it's wet and it'll keep you nice and cool while you're out there. If you're not wearing it on your head or your neck, you can chuck it onto your wrist and you can wear it as a sweatband or just keep it with you when you need it in all those conditions. I hope I didn't go through that too quickly, but there's a video showing you all those different ways. So it's really versatile.
Thank you so much, Marco. And we'll be sending everybody the how-to guides over emails and Facebook as well. So I'm expecting to see all of you with different styles on and doing a fashion show at the start line. So that'll be your first Oxfam Trailwalker. And I see a few people on video today doing practices with you, Marco. So that's great.
I can see some of those. Good stuff. Good to see. Some of you probably voted for the new design, so you'll probably see it on Facebook. The new design for Oxfam Aotearoa. So that's quite exciting. It'll be the first new one with Aotearoa on it, and yeah, and a really cool design. Another quick thing, Lizzie, I'll just share. We also have a starter pack. So you'll get lock sacks. One of your mandatory products is having phones when you're out on the trails for communication and emergencies. So these lock sacks, they come with 2 bags. They're waterproof, resealable bags. They work with the electronics, so you can put your phone in there and it'll prevent it from getting wet, the dust or any of those conditions. And then we also have an anti-chafe Run Guard, which is all natural. There's no petroleum in it. It's plant-based and beeswax based. You can look on our website and we can give you a bit more information on the versatility and how obviously chafing is a big issue. So using that for all over your body in where you're chafing. With that starter pack, it's $40 on our website, and $15 goes back to your team page. So you just need to put in Oxfam OT, Oxfam Trailwalker, OTW, and your team name, and that $15 goes back to your team page. Or if you order anything on our website, we can also give you a 20% back to your team page. So it's another way of fundraising and increasing your fundraising. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Marco. And I appreciate there's quite a few of you, but I'm going to overshare anyway. The Run Guard was a lifesaver for me when I was doing the trail audit. There were certain areas that were quite uncomfortable, and Run Guard definitely saved me with my 20-kilometer and 30-kilometer walks. So I highly recommend. So thank you so much. And just before we head over to the kind of the question and answer portion of this evening, I do just want to briefly share my screen once more and say a huge thank you not only to our speakers, Matt, Patrick, and Marco, giving us some really informative information, and hoping that you all learn a few things along the way. But I also want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors for Oxfam Trailwalker. Oxfam Trailwalker would be a very different experience without them. So head to oxfamtrailwalker.org.nz/event partners or /fundraising deals to check out their offers and how they can support both you and Oxfam Aotearoa. And so I know that the chat box has been blowing up. So what I'll now do is invite Vanessa to unmute herself and ask any questions of either myself or any of our three panelists this evening.
Hello, thank you, Lizzie. Yes, we've got quite a few questions coming on in, and also lots of comments, lots of people talking about food and what kind of good food to share for support crew to bring along on the journey. I wonder, Patrick, do you have any opinions on what were some great snacks that were shared with you in your adventures?
Yeah, look, I tell you what, actually, my daughter reminding me about just those instant soups. They're really quick, real hearty. Well, they're not, not lots of content in them, but really you've got a lot of good stuff in them, and easy to get down you quickly. I really agree with short transitions in the breaks, not sitting around too long. We had a sergeant major in Maria. She kind of, right, let's get going. But so you had to eat things quickly. But yeah, so the soups were good. Yeah, look, I quite enjoy a meat pie. But mainly, I've found that over the years, not carbo loading or anything like that, actually just eating normally, and that's kind of at a jog pace. So I've kind of trained my body, and that's part of that learning on the trail. Actually get out and do some long walks or long runs, and take those snacks. Those little beans, those electrolyte beans, we found really good at one stage. I think I'll get more of those. I think they were in our packs. But I kind of like a variety of stuff. But once again, I caution against using any electrolyte that you haven't tried before, because if it doesn't agree with you and you start feeling seedy, that is not a good place to be. So yeah, so just don't try anything new.
That sounds good. You mentioned also about staying hydrated earlier. How much water would you kind of recommend taking with you on the trail? Like, how often do you need to have water while you're doing the trail from your experience, do you think?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I find I have to work at staying hydrated. I've got my backpack on and I'm sipping on water all the time, but I'm not carrying a big amount of water, so maybe 1 litre. Because there's so many stops, and that at the next check-in, the next point, you can reload, and you should reload your water. Because my taste buds were really changed, I actually felt quite nauseated drinking water, but that was because of my own health stuff. So I put a little bit of like Barker's lemon flavoring in it, and it was just not that sweet, but it just helped keep me going. So if you've got any kind of condition or something like that going on, then just find out what works for you. And I don't know what it was, but it was kind of a reaction to, I don't know, the radiation, I don't know. But it was one of the things I just had to be really careful with. Yeah. So about a litre and a half, maybe even a bit less. If it's a small, if the checkpoint's close together, you might just have 750 mils or something like that. Yeah.
Thank you. That sounds really good. There's actually, speaking of checkpoints, Smoky Dovetails asking about, are we allowed to know how many checkpoints there will be and how often there'll be a checkpoint? So I believe it's around about every 10K or thereabouts, there'll be a checkpoint, if that's right, Lizzie, from that side of things.
It's usually 15 to 20. So I'll probably actually subtly ask Matt to unmute and see if he can offer a few more sneak tidbits before we launch the trail soon.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, about 15 to 20. I think 17, 18, 19 is a common one. So if you're doing the 100, there'd be 5, and if you're doing the 50, there'll be 2 checkpoints plus the finish. So yeah, that's about right. You can get through on 15 to 20 Ks with a small pack food of water and whatever you're snacking on. So yeah, quite achievable in those distances, we think.
And would you be able to maybe tell us a little bit more, so I guess, about the terrain and how you mentioned it's varied, it's over different sort of lands, private land, farmland, things like that, but if we could maybe get a bit more around sort of elevation and a bit more of sense of the terrain?
Yeah, definitely. It's not, I mean, there will be some smooth walking sort of concrete paths along the way and a few footpaths. There's some urban walking for sure, but probably the majority would be on gravel, well packed tracks. So it's going to be uneven terrain. There will be tree roots and all this sort of stuff to trip you over if you're not too careful or if you're not too stable on your feet. So probably training in that sort of terrain is going to be key, making sure your ankles and knees are used to uneven terrain. Yes, there will be hills, I can't lie, but they're not the hills like the big one in the background. You're not going to be on a hill for sort of half an hour winding your way up something. Most of the hills will be done and dusted in a matter of minutes, and there'll always be downhills. And the good thing with any hills, there's always going to be views. So that's the thing. But if you are factoring that into your training as far as getting out and about, varying your terrain, we promise there won't be loads and loads of walking on sandy beaches. We're trying to keep things broken up every few Ks. There'll be something slightly different, and some, probably the majority will be off-road, but maybe farm trail, walking track type terrain.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Thank you. Had a question for Marco, wondering about, there's so many different ways that you can wear your buff, which is amazing. Just how many ways can you wear it? And also, is it possible to wear it as a bit of a mask as well?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, there's probably more than 12 different ways. We've had people putting their phones, carrying their phones up on the top as an arm. Also, when you're trying to get some sleep, for those that need to have a quick nap, you can wear it as a blind chicken to keep yourself from sleeping. When it comes to a mask, it's not rated for COVID as such. It's just a one layer and it's breathable. So we wouldn't recommend it as to replace a filter mask. Last year, however, we did do a filter tube. So it had a replacement filter inside it, which was specific for that. And that's something that we're discussing with Oxfam, if that needs to be looked at for next year as well. But yeah, as I say, the general buff, a lot of people are wearing it out there, but it doesn't replace the actual mask for COVID. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you. No, that makes sense. I've got a couple of questions. Are there toilets along the route? Yes, absolutely. At checkpoints, yes, there are. And there's also water, hot tea, coffee, sugar, all that sort of thing at the checkpoints as well. Are the 50K and the 100K walkers on the same trail? Yes, they are. And with regards to elevation, what's the highest elevation point of the 100K that we'll need to climb? Is that something you could maybe ask Matt what the highest point is?
Yeah, the highest, I think from memory, it's around the 280 meter mark above sea level. So obviously a fair bit will be at sea level. And probably I'm at one of the highest points here right now at Lake Mangamahoe. So I think in memory around the mid 200s. So the hills are going to be less than that uphill. You're going to get a 50, 80, 100 meter hill at the most, and it's all quite gradual. And back to the question about the 50 and the 100, are they on the same trail? Yeah, about the 37, 38K mark, they'll all be together, and then about that's where the 100K will actually right just, can I show you? Just over here. So you can see down to this beautiful piece of lake. There's a path, and that's where the split off point will be. That's where the 50Ks will sort of wrap around by my hill, and the 100Ks are going to head out towards the Maunga, and then the 100 will obviously squeak in a few more Ks here and there to get up to the magic tally.
Oops.
Oh, I think we
Lost me.
sacrificed.
We've lost the
Yeah, oh,
audio.
you're back now.
We
I
just
thought
lost that last couple of minutes there. Sorry, Matt.
Not even a
the best.
minute. We
Not
saw
a
the
minute,
lake.
sorry,
We saw
not a
the
minute.
lake.
You saw the lake? Okay.
Yeah.
Apologies for connection. There you go.
God. The highlight was the view. So,
Oh,
you know,
cool.
pros and cons. All right.
Absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. Will it be the full Hundy in 2022? So I think that's meaning, will we be doing the full 100K? Yes, we will be. So are there marker points along the way? From Margaret. Yes, so there are marker points along the way, and you'll also have your walker directions, which you'll get with you at the registration evening, which will talk in great detail about where you're going. And there are also reflective markers, so that as Lizzie mentioned before about wearing the night vision headgear, that's really helpful. So it's reflective to pick that up along the way. And we'll also have signs sort of saying this way at the same time as you are going along the journey. Are there marker points? Yep, doesn't matter, we'll get lost anyway, so we make it up. Okay, from Troy. Oh, that's excellent. Just wondering, a question about Marco, about the buffs. I wanted to check with you, are they machine washable, or how do you care for them?
Sorry, let me unmute myself. Yes, they are machine washable. So just straight in the wash, but probably not tumble drying it. They dry really quickly. So it also has an antibacteria, a silver lining in it. So there's anti-odor and antibacteria for the lifetime of it. So it's not something that gets washed out. It stays in the product forever pretty much. So they don't smell and that kind of thing after a while.
It's fantastic. So we've got a question coming through about, do all the team members need to attend the registration and event briefing? I believe that is the case, Lizzie. If you want to jump in on that, is there anything more?
Yes, so about 2 weeks before the event, we send out a health and safety briefing, which we do ask everybody watches, all 4 team members, and ideally 2 support crew as well, because it's our way of communicating the last minute changes should we need to make changes to the trail, talk about weather plans, talk about COVID, and it also ties in with answering kind of a last minute health and safety form, as it were, just to get those final COVID questions through, as I'm sure many of you will be experienced of kind of answering. So everyone has to watch that, but it can be in the comfort of your own home. And then on registration, that means that only 1 team member has to attend registration to pick up the walker pack. As I said, everybody is welcome, but it just means that 1 person can pick up for everybody and divvy out the prizes and the bibs and things when they get back to their accommodation.
Oh, that's fantastic. Another, I guess, support question is, will there be vehicle access for the support crews while they're supporting their walkers?
Yes, so every checkpoint event site will be slightly different. So it depends on, that'll change the access points, the parking, the layout and so on. But obviously once the trail is confirmed and the checkpoints are all confirmed, what we'll be doing is kind of letting everyone know, I suppose, the breakdown of every checkpoint. So talking about parking access, talking about space, where to set up gazebos, what will be there and so on as well. And every checkpoint at this stage will have parking access and vehicle access for all support crews to meet their walkers.
Oh, that's fantastic. So is there very much support crew walking required for those supportive people?
As again, we just have to rely on what's each checkpoint is unique. So we'll communicate that as soon as we know the answers.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. There's a little note here from Lynn. Does every team member get a buff once they meet their $2,000 team fundraiser?
Yes, indeed.
So, yes, they do. Very exciting incentive there, and wonderful thing to have. Absolutely fantastic product. And looking forward to having the new design in hand as well. which will be
Very
great.
much.
So just having a squiz across to see if there's any more questions coming through. Somebody has missed the question about toilets because they're looking after children. Yes, there's toilets along the way at every checkpoint. Does anyone have anything else I'd like to pop into the chat? Just bear in mind as well, this isn't your last opportunity to pop any questions in the chat. We're always available on our trailwalker.org.nz email, on Facebook, and our 0800, which is the 0800 600 700 number as well. So you can chat to us anytime. We're available and looking forward to hearing from you if you have any questions, particularly when you jump off and think, oh, I wish I'd thought of that question. Oh, is it compulsory for all staff to wear reflective clothing, as I assume this is mainly for night walks? Are we walking in high-vis vests? From Margaret.
So Margaret, for that, reflective is that we have on our bibs reflective strips as well. So it's really just bearing in mind that most teams, and it depends on kind of the light levels, I suppose, too, in that early morning and the dusk period, reflective clothing just adds that extra element of safety. So even if you have reflective strips on your active wear, that counts too. We're not expecting everybody to be wearing the fabulous high-vis vests for the nighttime or the kind of daytime dusk area.
And also a question from Natalie Chung to everybody, or to us. Sorry, I might have missed it at the beginning of the start. When will the maps be available?
So we're looking to reveal the trail at the end of October. Matt is literally, as we speak, finalising the trail on his adventures, and we'll be sharing not only the maps but things like trail leg descriptions and elevation profiles in the coming weeks as well. So we'll be releasing that on our website, and we'll email everybody and advertise on our social media as soon as they're ready to point everyone to go and have a check it out.
That's fantastic. Just a question about Patrick, about you mentioned about your run walking, which is quite intriguing. Just wondering, a bit of a question on how that works. How do you manage to run walk and keep everyone at the same pace and things like that? How does that sort of work, the hybrid of those two things?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Actually, Troy's just put something on there about cautioning everyone to look after each other as a team. And I think that's one of the great strengths of our team, is that if someone's tired, we all slow down and go to the tiredest person's pace. So this year, it was me that was kind of like the least fit person in the team because of my health issue. And so, you know, if I called it, guys, we just need to slow down, everyone did. Yeah, so I think you've just got to be aware that we're doing this together, and every year that we've been involved, you know, every year, well, I've been involved, we've all finished, all four have finished, and that's been no mean feat. And often one person can fall off because of blisters or fatigue or dehydration. So we work really hard to work together as a team, and when we think about who's the least fit, who's the most tired, who's struggling, and support them. Yeah, so I think that's important. I suppose the expectation for our team is that everyone's got a degree of running fit. So, you know, I mean, the week before, I thought, can I do 25 kilometers? If I can do 25, I think I can find the strength to do 100. And I got out around, I live in Whakatane, so I got out and I did, well, it was a very slow walk run, but I did 25 Ks. And my friend said, that's a weird form of tapering, because it was a week before we were doing the event, but I just had to satisfy myself. But I'm a nut, I'm intense, and we all kind of are a bit nutty in our team. And, you know, like, you know, Troy just goes out and runs a marathon for a training run, you know, and he and I are the oldest of the team.
Oh, I love it. Just got a bit of a question for Marco. Could you, just from Karen, could you possibly repeat what we need to do if buying from the Outwear website to connect to our team fundraising?
Yes, sure. So if you order as normal, and just under the comments, you just put OTW, Oxfam Trailwalker, and your team page, your team name. And we'll see that, and whatever you're buying, 20% then will go back to your team page. But if you do the race, the starter pack that I mentioned earlier with the Luxac and the Run Guard, then $15 will go automatically to your team page. It might take a while because they get processed. They don't get processed every day. So it might take a few weeks before you see it on your team fundraising page, but they will come through, and it'll say it'll say Outwear, so you'll know that it comes from us.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
before we take maybe just one more question, Vanessa, I do want to say that Pat mentioned the sports beans that he's previously used in the past, and you can purchase those from Outwear as well. And the events team are definitely hopped up on sugar when we have those in the office. So we highly recommend those for walking and training runs as well. But as I said, don't try them for the first time at the event.
Yeah, we've got 3 flavors this year. So orange, lemon, lime, and the favorite one, which is assorted, which is a mix of jelly beans. But they have all the electrolytes and the nutrients that gels have. So one pack is equivalent to 1 gel, 100 calories and 25 grams of carbohydrates in the sport beans.
Oh, look, I think that's everything from the chat. Just a closing comment from Troy, which is very lovely from earlier, just saying, well said, Pat, there's always a challenged individual in the team. And the problem is it varies over the course. So the lead may vary, let the team being slow vary, but move as a team, which is so important. Like you were saying there, just echoing that is starting and finishing together. It's a team event. So that's everything from the chat. Please do feel free to Facebook us, email us, or phone us with any other questions after this evening. We're available for you guys and looking forward to seeing you at the start and finish line. So passing over to you, Lizzie.
Yeah, and just from me, I want to say a huge thank you for joining us this Tuesday evening. And this session has been recorded, so we'll post it on our website for you guys to be able to review, and also our Facebook channel as well. And if you do have any questions, we really look forward to talking to you and getting excited with you as we get closer and closer to Oxfam Trailwalker 2022. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful evening.